I completely agree. He's just so right.
I shut the chair. It's all gone.
If you guys weren't aware, Nick is a Mammoth fan, so we just need to give him a moment. Let him get it out of his system.
The IKEA showroom's doomed. It's gone. They're out of business.
IKEA is going to fire him after this, but it's important we let the emotions get out. Is that a banana?
You had it, boys.
That wasn't a banana. I think the point that the point we're making here is that Mammoth should have won that game, and Mammoth lost that game. And it took that much to get Nick out of his cocoon.
Wow.
That was messed up. You had that one. You had that one in the bag.
He's tired.
He sounds like he's crying.
Damn it.
I agree, man. I agree. Don't worry, you're not alone.
All right, well, what can you say there? I guess we still got a chance if Direwolves cark it in Game 4, but Spawn, Mammoth had that. They had it in their fingies. They had it right on the tip of the tongue.
Yeah, I mean, that was a weird game, because I feel like, to be honest, this game was won like 3 times by Mammoth. And yet, they just didn't do the thing where you're supposed to kill the Nexus. Like, they just did. They did all the steps up to that point to allow them to do that. But as I said, like, you really do have to start crediting Pentanet and, you know, the teams like Pentanet, Legacy, that they just drag you late game over and over again. They have such long game times, and really only they are experienced in that stage of the game. And you can see the nerves really did play a role in being able to close that one out.
Yeah, that was a massive experience difference towards the end, unfortunately. Like, to be 5,000 gold ahead at 10 minutes in is one of those leads, especially like with the comp they had, to be like, okay, like it's really hard to lose this one, right? You said it after the game. Like, they had to do everything wrong a lot of times to have any chance to win that game, or to lose that game rather, and they somehow managed that.
Well, they're not out just yet. It is all relying on Game 4 and the Direwolves. If Direwolves win the next one, then we're done. Mammoth, you and I are done. I can't emotionally take this kind of roller coaster. My goodness. But what we do have now is time for the Nick bag. Alrighty, to get over that absolute emotional heartbreak, let's hear from Jacob, who says, "Hi, Nick Boy. I'm looking for a side hustle to make some extra cash outside of my normal work, as most of my money goes into bills and nothing fun, and I don't know where to start. I'm a man with not many talents, but I have a few hours to spare each night, and I'm keen to learn any talents that can lead me to making some cash." Let's be very careful with our answers here.
Well, I have no answers then.
What can you do if you have no talents, or he says few talents, and a couple of hours each? I mean, you could take up streaming for one, you know?
Yeah.
Consistency is king when it comes to streaming. Mm-hmm. You don't even need to be good at anything. You just need to be on. People just want to watch someone who's on.
But only a few hours. If you're streaming 2 hours a night, that's not enough.
Yeah.
I would say you got to think long term, Jacob. You seem like you're a short-term results-based kind of guy. And that's not how life works. Anything worth doing is like something you have to grind away at. So I would say pick a skill. You know, whether it's software engineer, like whether it's you're writing code or doing other things like that, website design, like whatever you want to do, you just got to grind away and actually get good enough to earn money, because no one's going to pay for someone to be shit at a job 2 hours a night.
That was my answer, is a language. Whatever the language is, doesn't have to be like an actual, like, I'm going to learn Mandarin. It could be the language of networking or whatever it may be. Computer graphic design, whatever it is, learn something that is a skill that can actually be done with a few hours a night. And like Sport said, it will take some time. Alternatively, do cash jobs for your friends and mess it up, so you have to return next week to fix it
That
again.
was going to be my job. That was going to be my answer, right? If you're thinking short term, do cash jobs, maybe do a spring clean through the house, list some things on eBay, get rid of stuff that you've been hoarding for years and years because you're too lazy to clean up the house. Just earn some quick, easy cash. But if you're thinking long term, an investment of 2 years into something, bit of networking, bit of passion, bit of language, will definitely pay off big time in the long run.
also the real answer here is probably in a post-COVID world, being a man with a van or something. Because I know all you have to do is show up at the depot and they'll pretty much let you remove anyone's furniture from their house.
Absolutely. Also, Paradoxical Gaming speaks for me with the language of networking from Rusty was a beautiful way to tie together. Learn a language, not just Mandarin, but the language of networking. It's just like Rusty sells a course on the language of networking with that kind of pitch. That was fantastic. Yeah, I agree. Invest in yourself. Put some money into you, and you'll see a lot come out. Okay. Next up, this one's from Anonymous. I don't know why they want to stay anonymous with this one. It tells us nothing about their personality. If I were to spend my lockdown time perfecting one baked dish, savory or sweet, what should it be and why? One baked dish. I'll start while you guys think. The custard tart.
Oh, yes, Nick.
Yes. Yes.
I'm already just hijacking your answer. It's done. I love that.
It is humanity's greatest dish, I would say. And it can go from the sort of shitty bakery in a town with 30 people that just sells grisly meat pies. The custard tart from there is amazing, all the way up to the sort of fancy. I'll even allow Portuguese tarts and stuff to be included in this. Any sort of custard-based tart dish, top tier.
Custard tart is my goat. My only exception to that rule is anything apple-based. I'm talking apple pie, apple crumble. Yeah, I don't know. I just love those fruit desserts.
Technically, if you perfected just pie making,
then
you could just fill it with whatever.
True. Now you're thinking outside the box.
I'm going to go with... I feel like if someone writes this question, they have never baked anything in their life and they suck at it. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go with the humble tuna bake. Because tuna bakes are impossible to stuff up.
True.
Yep.
From just, pasta. Actually, that's not true. You can overcook the pasta, you can mess up the sauce, and you can get crappy tuna. But surely if you just get maybe this is harder.
That's only 3 things, though.
He gets halfway through, he's like, "Oh, maybe it's not. Maybe it's not."
But yeah, I feel like I've never messed up a tuna bake, so you should learn to do a tuna bake.
But they are saying to spend their lockdown perfecting one dish. So they're willing to give this many shots.
Yeah, but I feel like for a custard, right, you have to have a good idea about how to make an anglaise. Then you have to be able... So, there are just too many layers to be able to perfect
pie pastry is very difficult.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Pie pastry, so I feel like... And I'm going to assume that you're like most people in Twitch chat and you struggle with instant ramen. So maybe, set the bar a little bit more realistic. Perfect the humble tuna bake.
Rusty?
I'm going to say cheesecake. Because I feel
oh my God, it's so good.
It's it's good. Basic cheesecake is good. And then if you happen to get good at it, you've got options for days. You know? Mm-hmm. You can make whatever you want in a cheesecake, basically. I think it's a nice base dish.
I'll tell you what, combine all this, make a cheesecake with a pie crust, and you have got, you've not only got yourself potentially the greatest dessert of all time, but you have unlimited options. And then you can put tuna on top of it for Spawn as well. Okay. Up next, this one comes in. And Anon, let me know on Twitter what you end up picking and perfecting. Mercury Ose says, I keep on setting myself alarms and writing myself notes to tidy up my desk area, to clean up my workplace, but I keep procrastinating and just watching YouTube all day. How do you guys keep yourselves from procrastinating when working from home?
What you want? Baby, I got it. Woo!
I think for me...
Isn't it that simple?
Oh, no, you go ahead, Spawn. You go ahead. You hit the note, mate.
You just need to actually have some respect for yourself. You have a finite amount of time before you die.
And we're back to this again.
We're not...
Grandmas are back.
I miss you, Grandma.
No, this is true. This is how I explain stuff to all my guys. Is you will be alive, you're a baby, and then you'll be, an adult functioning for a certain amount of time. Then you'll get old, and then you'll be dead. So, actually fill that finite amount of time with something useful and something that you will derive self-worth from. And if you want to do all
in chat
these
right
things,
now and says that respect is non-existent right now.
Well, if you want to do all these things, my answer to you is you actually don't want to do them. If you're not doing them, you just don't want to do them. And therefore, you should just acknowledge that and just be a slug of a human being.
But that was going to be my answer, right? Is like you live that slug of a human being lifestyle. I think it's a frame of mind thing. Like if I look around my desk and there's bowls and drinks and empty wrappers and then like clothes and stuff all over the floor, I'm like, man, I'm a piece of shit. And I just go and clean. And then that's it. I'm done. And then I do a big exodus. The room is clean. I'm like, yes, a zen environment. And then, it slowly builds up again. And then, you repeat the cycle. The cycle of life continues.
I mean, Spawn makes a very good point with that. Russ, did you have any advice?
Yeah, don't sit down at your computer. Like, stop giving yourself an excuse to be on YouTube all day. Turn your bloody chair upside down when you go to bed or something. Because you wake up, you can't just slug your way over to the chair. Like that's the way that I would do it, right? Like, people have the same thing. I set my alarm 17 times and I can't wake up. It's like, just either get up or chuck the phone across the room so you have to get up to turn it on. Like, there's either a long-term fix or a short-term.
I love all the tough love advice right now. Two things. One, active thought listening. Every time you go to YouTube, it's a habit just because you are not thinking and making a decision to go to YouTube. You're just taking in the thought, you're letting the thought control what you do, and then you do it. Every time a thought comes in, you want to look at it and go, is this something I want to do or not? You can actively decide to not do things, and habits are formed because you aren't making active decisions. You're making sort of like rote learned decisions. So that's number one. Number two, take a job where you broadcast yourself 24 hours a day on stream, because when you're on camera, you have to do your job. We are the perfect example of when it is time to do our job, we have to do our job. We have no other choice because there's a camera being beamed directly into our home office. So that is your second option. All right, it's time to jump into game number 4 after Spawn just crushed a person in Twitch chat with some real dad advice. But I do
about
agree.
The tough love.
No, I mean it's definitely the thing. You combine all three of our answers and you have the correct answer, and then add a webcam. All right, it's time for game number 4. It is AV versus Direwolves. Direwolves, you know I like you. I have a lot of respect for you as a team and a group of players, but please lose this game.
Last time I versed Pat Price, he was playing pretty good at the start, and I said I'd turn him back to an Inter. I did just that. He didn't look too hot on the camera, so hopefully he picks a real champ this time.
So Chaz, he played really well at the start of the split, but recently I think he's been kind of moving away from his style. Depending on what champ he plays this week can have like a very big impact on if he does really well or does really badly.
Lisa's okay. He's a bit like me. He just picks Lee Sin all day. Bit of a Lee Sin one trick. Whoever gets Lee Sin first will just win the game. Lisa, really nice guy. I love him.
AV in the first few weeks of the split looked pretty strong. They beat us on our first game, or like on the first week. But after that, they've been really struggling. We've been looking fairly strong. So it should be a pretty easy game for us.
How do you think Guncrab's gonna
go? I think Guncrab is a good player. And so funny guy. I really like Guncrab.
Yes, guys, welcome back for the final time tonight as Spawn and I kick off the action between Avant Gaming and the Direwolves. A big game here as I think Nick so kindly alluded to. If Direwolves win this one, they will knock out, I should say, their Mammoth from. I mean, that would even be an even scarier situation down the ladder. They will knock out Mammoth from ever having a chance of committing to the playoffs. So Avant Gaming, as much as they want to continue their stride of sticking in that spot, they need to win it on 2 separate occasions.
Certainly do, Skimmy. And when you have a look at how this pick ban has gone, you can see so much early game aggression being taken away from Avant Gaming. And that makes a ton of sense to me, because when you see Avant play well, it's a lot of it through Lisa, having really aggro early games, being fairly active on the map, big flanks coming across from Paprise, and generally 5v5 team fighting around Chaz. Now, if you remove a couple of those options nice and early on, you take red side, so that Paprise is going to get counterpicked, get rid of a couple of these aggro junglers, a couple of the aggro mid laners, then that's just not the way the game's going to go. I think Direwolves so far have a really great plan.
It's looking to be the case here, as well, we actually see the grand reveal very early on to match out the Orianna with the LeBlanc, so making sure that both have those pop-off champions that really fit their archetype. You've talked at great lengths as to sort of the best control mages, the sort of best dictators of the mid lane, and they're definitely up there in the mix of things. Aphelios going to go into the Ashe as the final pick now will be the Trundle before we race on through to the next set of bans. And, you know, respect has been shown, and I think Direwolves raised a few good points in that, yes, they beat us in week 1, but they've been unable to find that same success and that level of form that really challenged us back then.
Yeah, we'll see if that is going to be the case. Direwolves, to me, have been, at times, Skimmy, the best team in the league, actually. But it's too streaky for me. Avant, at the same time, we kind of built them up at the start of the season because they did pick up wins versus both Direwolves and the Chiefs, I believe, quite early on. But they've just been a mess since then. And we've talked about consistency, the inconsistent 80 carry swap overs, Appy having some great games into some terrible games. So I think that both of these teams definitely have things to work on. It's just that Direwolves have always looked like the more polished version of Avant, at least in, you know, the small sample size that we have.
Direwolves have had a pretty rough schedule coming into this one as well. Defeats to Chiefs, Order, and Legacy in that order. It's been a battle of the top of the table for them. So there's a part of you that says you learn more from a defeat, whether or not they can apply it into a team here like Avant Gaming to continue themselves of being discussed in that top part of the bracket. That's what we're going to wait and find out, as there is a lot of respect now being shown towards the top lane.
Yeah, and you can see that already Wukong as well as Mordekaiser are being banned away from the Direwolves. They're two of the better blind picks. They're also big lane bullies. And instead, Direwolves, they just give away the ability to actually counterpick top. They take an Ornn for Chippies, who can now get quite heavily counterpicked. You know, if you play something like a Kayle up there in the top lane, okay, they just handshake the matchup. That's maybe not. Maybe that is a support set. I will hold out hope for now.
I was going to say, because that Nidalee going into Trundle would be an absolute disaster. It would smash the Trundle.
Yeah, well, Nidalee into Trundle is really great. But I was expecting maybe jungle set, just because it's not the worst matchup either. But maybe we get support set and a big counterpick top laner. Come on, give me a big counterpick top laner.
Don't commonly see the likes of them picking Chippies that early on. They're going to go with the Scion. What do we think about this one, Spawn? Your eyes, your head going back, doesn't seem like you're too happy.
That pick sucks. Scion into Trundle. Oh. I'm mad for Paprise. No wonder it took him 60 seconds to lock that in, Skimmy. Like, ugh. So for those that don't know what I'm talking about, as soon as you ult, Trundle just pillars you and you just crash. You just stop. And then you build only resistances on Scion early game. And, like, that's just... and
you know what's really funny is when I saw Scion starting to be picked by your guys in order, I saw that a lot of the time the Trundle was being banned away. Now, whilst that is obviously... whilst it is obviously a very strong ban in the current fold of things, obviously it's a big denial of what Scion achieves, as if it's already not going to be bad between that. Obviously, Ornn can do the same thing by chucking up his own pillar. So the ultimate, the headbutt, the ram, the charge, anything that you want to call it, it just doesn't achieve as much as it's wanting to.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Skimmy. And in fact, when Order started banning Trundle really early in drafts, people just started instantly banning Scion, because it's one of the biggest tells that you want a Scion in your composition if you banned that Trundle. So, you know, I think that there was enough there to make this not a good pickup. Why is it a good pickup, you ask? Well, because Orianna as well as the Ashe are both mobile carries, and that's where Scion's wheelhouse is if you are able to hold onto the backline. But Braum, Trundle, Ornn, I think all of these champions are actually terrific into the Scion. So it is a little bit of a strange pick for me, Skimmy.
It's not often we don't see Chippies get picked last there, and you'd have to say he's almost got off quite lightly by picking it and saving the support till last, not to find a matchup that can really punish him. We've seen a few situations this season so far where blind picks come on through, and the punishment has been quite catastrophic, to put it lightly.
Well, look at Game 1 against Legacy and Order. Like, Order did the exact same thing. They picked the Ornn in the 4-pick slot, and Jihoon, Tophoon, took an Aatrox and pretty much solo won his team the game with it, right? So if you have a look at like what the power of a counterpick can be on blue side, I think that this has been a little bit of a wasted opportunity.
Wasted opportunity in the draft, but let's see what opportunities present themselves in the game here as we get in for our final match of week number 8. Avant Gaming currently sitting at 6 spots, 6 and 9, with the Direwolves sitting just 1 spot above them at 5th. with a record of 8-7. Very close are they right now? Much like the game we had just prior. Serious implications here as to who can continue and whose playoff dreams end tonight.
And Direwolves need this victory, Skimmy. I've been checking all night, as you can probably tell, as I swivel my head around all the stats, everything that's going in behind it. They are now 2 games away from both Pentanet.gg as well as the Chiefs. And if they lose this game to Avant Gaming, they would actually give Avant the head-to-head, and there would only be one match gap between those 2 teams. So I think that the Direwolves, they know this one is a must-win. This will pretty much lock them into playoffs. It would put them 3 games ahead with the head-to-head advantage, so make it nearly 4. So we'll see if they're able to do that. And are we going to see something crazy here? No, we're not. We're just going to see Sion wander back topside. I thought maybe, a gank could come out. Maybe he tries to start a camp himself, but no, he's just going to do the cross-country.
Going to do the cross-country. Just wanted to bait your attention and make sure that you shone the spotlight on him just a little bit more than it already has been. First things first for me, though, we touched on it briefly about the jungle matchup. That's instantly where my attention goes towards, given how Lisa has liked to be the aggressive component. What can he try and do there? Yes, I'm now looking top on the mini-map. Well, I can see Trundle. Big Miru going for a cheeky little level 2 invade. The swoop is out. The red buff is there. He is waiting to see if Papri steps up just a little bit too much. There it is. He's in trouble. Pillar, flash. That's all she wrote.
Yeah, now he's going to just go take the blue buff as well, because without flash, there's no way Paprise is going to step into that jungle. You can see that he pings on the way. Oriana is having an okay job in the mid lane as well. So, good start here for Mir. Gets a flash very early and will also take away a jungle camp. I like this on the Trundle. As you mentioned, this should be a good matchup for the Nidalee, but it will not be if the blue buff gets stolen, Skimmy.
No tempo if you're behind. As 5-hit as that sounds, not much Lisa can do to match that one. Now he's going to go across to his blue buff and say, hang on a minute, where is that? It used to be here, but now it's not. And the question is now, will he have any kind of agency to try and actually go and steal away the one that Miru possesses? Because as it stands, the lane states aren't in a situation where his Avant teammates can assist him.
And look at you color casting away. That's exactly right, Skimmy. Without Prior, you're not going to recross mid lane here. You can see that Mir even takes his time, stops for a cheeky pack of chickens to be able to take on the way. That is going to be a 6 clear accomplished, a 5 clear accomplished by Lisa. Sub Scuttlecrab spawning, but can he actually fight the top Scuttlecrab here? In the 1v1, he definitely can. LeBlanc has a quicker rotate. We'll see what happens here. Ornn's still in river.
Yep, Chippies is on the hunt right now. He's coming on through. Both junglers down to half. Ooh, flashes away from the headbutt. That was certain disaster and a guaranteed first blood. But now, top side of the draft here for Avant. Don't have much mobility and very vulnerable for another gank.
And the Trundle double Scuttlecrab dream has come true, Skimmy. In these counter matchups, this is what Trundle can do. He skirmishes really well at level 3, has the pillar, has the additional speed. And you can see that now has himself actually a pretty meaningful lead in the jungle. He has his best side of the map to clear, still up and available. He takes blue, Gromp, as well as Wolves very quickly without taking any damage. And he's already up in CS.
Up in CS, up in Vision, up in buffs. And that will then notably mean that he is up in XP as well. The first one to hit 6, and that means the Subjugate will come online and guarantee that these ganks will be very successful in their favor. Question is, what can Avant look to try and do to net themselves some form of bounce back? You hate to write a team off in 5 minutes, and they're definitely not out of this one, but when early games go the way of a team, they've showcased today alone, that tends to snowball a bit.
Well, the issue is, Skimmy, is that bottom lane is repetitively getting shoved in, and you can see Vital had complete control of the wave. Now Appy looking a little bit more aggressive, maybe hinting that his jungler is bottom side of Summoner's Rift, however now spotted out. Mid is down 10 CS, and you can see Shock is having a fine time there. They've already blown Paprise's flash, and he's also going to be, Chippies is going to be taking a shot now. So I just think across the board, right, that everything has kind of gone the Direwolves' favour. Now, does that mean it's going to stay that way? No, obviously you have an Ignite. LeBlanc can look to set up some kills there in the mid lane against the cleanseless Oriana. But that really is where the play must come from. I feel like mid lane is the one area that they still have some form of hope.
That has been the area of consistency, as we've spoken at great lengths, the one that looks to always pop off individually, then feel the ability to try and find success in fights that favour them as well. wondering if you want to see a little bit of attention go towards the bottom lane, given the fact that it will be a Hex Flash, you'd have to imagine, on the set, and try and equal out the fact that you've lost Summoner's top side. Making life of Ashe very vulnerable for a potential repeat gank there.
Chaz being very aggressive when he's down a level, Skimmy. He actually lost that trade just to the auto attacks of Shock.
Certainly is. That's what you wanted to see, and that is what you got.
Huh. So now if you're Avant, what are you actually hoping to achieve? You can see that they're taking an additional wave down bottom lane, so that probably means that they're close to a BF sword shot. Maybe you also go for an early swap, try and guarantee a Rift Herald at, 8 minutes into this game, as Decoy just holds that creep wave off turret.
Yep, going to freeze it for Vital then. Beautiful is his attempts there, successful as well.
Is he going to be able to stop the shop as well? Oh, he just misses out on the timing there. That's pretty well played. Mir also mid.
He's on the hunt. Summoners upon summoners, they want to be burnt. The shockwave is not available. It was used in a prior exchange. That is another flash gone. Paprise is soon to come on up. We're getting closer and closer to a contest, either around a Herald, a Dragon, where advantages like that will be huge for the Direwolves.
And this is just a jungling clinic. However, Mir might have finally bitten off more than he can chew.
Blast Cone has been denied from him right now. He's going to commit for the steal. He takes it down, but is a red buff worth your life bar? It certainly is not. Avant are very grateful for that donation, and they will find themselves first bloods.
So he finally bites off just a little bit more than he can chew, Skimmy. You can see that he had the right idea in Italy on top side of Summoner's Rift, so he goes for an invade. But good on Avant's bottom lane for checking that buff. That's really, really great League of Legends. They were down beforehand, but now with the fact that they have themselves a red buff on their set, maybe they can look to flashing on. They've also got a BF to Boots 2 shop. I always like to fight at this stage if I am the Aphelios. Q down.
Is he looking for it? Comes the Facebreaker. Not the target he's after, however, because Brom very, very tanky. As that's Paprise taking a ton of damage from this turret, and as soon as that flash came online, it's gone again. Chippy's could have nearly gone for a solo kill, but he did not have the flash and was unable to follow.
Okay. When you have Barmy Cinder, it's always risky to walk up to a turret to auto-attack it, Skimmy, because you do draw aggro. That's what we saw there. Direwolves going to be able to get themselves the first dragon of the game. It is only going to be a wind dragon. But still control over the map. Good stabilization has actually happened in some key areas. 80 carry looked like it was going to fall down, but it has stabilized completely fine. Jungle also stabilized here by Lisa, despite how active Mir has been. But you have to say, 23 CS in the mid lane is quite the number when Chaz had counter pick. So really great job from Shock. We've made Chaz out to be, one of the MVPs of the league at the moment. And Shock definitely seems to have his number here, Skimmy.
He certainly does. It'll be quite interesting to note how they can look to continue to target this pick and diminish the potential for any of these lanes to really come online here for Avant. We know how strong Violet can be. We saw him in glimpses in Split 1, and then he made it into the main roster come Split 2. Paprise showed up to this roster to add to their strength and definitely got off to a good start as well. Matchups aren't favouring them so far, but what they will do is look to go for this dragon. And it was a dragon, but that's actually a Herald, and as it falls on down, it actually gets stolen away as well. So it's an absolute disaster as the arrow comes down all the way from bot river. They don't even care about picking up the objective. They're more interested in getting kills, and that they do find as they take down 2.
What a game from Direwolf so far. I'm actually really enjoying this one, Skimmy. They seem to have a great read on what their opponent wants to do. They're nullifying those plays. They have very good counter plays themselves. And that's another 2 kills going across them. They also get the Herald. Mir is really good on these smites. And, I think that they scale so well, so nicely into this game. You don't want to call it too early. It is only 10 minutes in, but just looks like Direwolves right now playing with an air of confidence that you like to see out of a top team in the OPL.
Now that was going to be my question, right? We wondered, given the current scheduling that had come into this matchup with them taking Legacy Order and Chiefs, the best teams in the league without a doubt so far to date. We know they can battle with the best. A few results haven't gone their way, a few fights up against them. The results not always painting the full picture. But they're showcasing the caliber that differentiates themselves from an opponent like Avant right now. And that's the question on the flip side as to what Avant have left up their sleeve to prevent this from really getting further out of control.
And when you have a look at the top 5 right now, Skimmy, it just appears to be so close. You know, Pentanet definitely challenging some teams. I think they've taken down Legacy once. They've taken down Chiefs a couple of times as well. You have a look at Direwolves. They're also in pretty good nick. They took down Order earlier in the season. So I think the top 5 right now is just, you know, as close as it's ever been. The league has really flattened out at this stage. Mir getting shoved out of his jungle slightly. You can see that Sion also walking down river. But if there's no action on the bottom side, all that means is more free farm going across to Chippies. And they're pinging out a ward. This is going to be the all-in play.
Certainly is. Very deep teleport now onto Violet, who has a flash, has a cleanse, but will he have the opportunity to try and use it? Moonlight Vigil flashes away, going to get locked on down and get taken out of the fight instantly. They've traded a Philios for a Braum. Direwolves love these situations. Now to pick up Appy. Chase jumps in for the one-shot, but all he can get is an ignite and a disengage away. Vital lives to tell the tale, but he can't do much from afar. Shockwave onto 2. Lisa pounces forward, sidesteps the spear, gets the autos, gets the kill. And that is Direwolves putting all their resources into this bottom lane. Chaz rotating through those cooldowns like a piano. He's playing a tune. QWE. He presses R. He tries to hope that something will fall on down. But those 4 buttons haven't found him the one-shot combo just yet.
And Chaz seems to be having a really off day today, Skimmy, because as you mentioned, it looked like there were a couple of kills up for the offering there. He missed chains onto Vital, that definitely would have taken him down. He also missed chains there onto, I think it was the Trundle towards the end of the fight as well. So just having a little bit of a roughie so far. He is 20 CS down still, was struggling with the mana as well in that fight, just given the fact that he doesn't have himself a blue book. But the good news is for Avant Gaming, is that wasn't a Herald drop play. If that had been a clean gank with double teleports coming across from the Direwolves, then, you know, Herald into bottom turret plate would have been on the cards. Instead, it was just trades of kills. And you can see now, significant gold lead for the support set, but everywhere else seems to be favouring the Wolfpack.
Certainly is. You're looking at 1k in the mid lane, for instance, 400 in the jungle, and close to 1,000 in the top side as well. And it's definitely favouring these beefy bruisers that will allow Direwolves to have a very strong front line to allow their back line to have optimal uptime, to find success, to lay down the damage. And they have plenty of it. There's no denying the Ashe and the Orianna combo together. They find a target, that target will fall on down.
You can see that Paparazzi just knows that this game needs to be over quite soon if they're going to win. They're going to Mir.
Yeah, they're hard forcing it, aren't they? That's the flash across into the little alcove. They're trying to find out Mira, who pops the subjugate. So damn tanky and so damn healthy. As now they go for the 2-man arrow. That's going to be Vital. Caught in a spot above her. Oh, one auto. Chaz committed everything. The flash, it was burned, but it was secured. And you said it, they needed to make something happen. Well, boy, did they do that. They've exploded themselves into the blue side jungle. They've taken down 2 key targets. They're going to hunt for a 3rd. And that is aggression. Calculated, but necessary.
And Avant needed to make something happen. They knew this game was getting out of hand rapidly. They were just losing every lane. You can see 40 CS in the top lane, 20 CS in the mid lane. Really, it was bottom lane as the last bastion of hope. Now Appy even stronger, Skimmy. This is a 4-1-1 support set. And to top things off, they get the Rift Herald out of Mira as well. I think he thought he had a ward or maybe a sweeper, but he drops the Herald in the middle of the team fight. 4 members fall down. Dragon goes across for Avant Gaming. And now they actually have a window into this game.
You wondered if it would be a jungle set. Well, it basically is at this stage of the game, given the amount of money he's got in his back pocket. Definitely going to be a big influence. Not the best case scenario by any stretch of the imagination, but definitely nothing to be too upset about, because he can definitely benefit from a few of these items. Phase rush into a rushing of the dead man's plate. There's a ton of movement speed and the ability to continue to find plays like that of running down a key target.
And we've already seen what supports like Ayla are able to do on this pickup. Rogue is another one that comes to mind. So we'll see whether Appy is also going to be able to find the big engage plays. As you mentioned, he's zooming at the moment. He's going to be everywhere on Summoner's Rift, and where he goes, pain will follow. Also, support set, when he has these tank items, just does a surprising amount of damage to him. He takes an Ornn or a Trundle and puts them onto the back line of his team. Definitely can be a team fight winning combo.
We've seen that already with Pabu getting the 4-man slam on a Scion that spelt disaster. Obviously not going to be the case here today because Scion is a teammate, and that would be very weird if that were to happen. But regardless, it is the Direwolves' top side of the map right now. Knowing that Herald is available, trying to group up and find themselves a fight that this time would favour them.
And they're just sacking again. Look at top lane. The creeps are just dying to the turret. The poor creeps. And now they decide to hit Herald while Violet goes and tries to fight the creeps. So a little bit of miscommunication, it looks like, across the board. Big stack there, Shockwave.
Oh, that's a huge Shockwave. Out goes the Fireman's Host to lock them in place. But the Sprinkler will do just that. It'll tickle them. Now, the Direwolves are hoping that they could have fought and found a kill that would have net them a decisive numbers advantage. Not going to be the case. The arrow goes out. It goes wide.
Goes into Narnia. Where was that arrow going? It wasn't close to hitting anyone. So now maybe, with a couple of important ults used in the Shockwave as well as the arrow, this will just be Avant's Dragon.
Yep, they definitely can't contest, and Avant know it, and immediately collapse upon the Heralds.
Oh, we've called Herald Dragon 3 times this game now, Skinny.
I've cursed it from the first one.
You really have. You've boogeyman the objective, but at least they're going to be able to pick that one up. It will, of course, be a Herald. He'll pick up the eye. And Avant Gaming...
This one hopefully not going to be used as a ward.
Yeah, hope not. Avant Gaming is showing that even with Chaz playing probably his worst game of the season so far, that they're not out of this game. They are more than the Chaz show.
Definitely feeling like the case with Direwolves then trying to regain control once more. Throwing caution to the wind, throwing ultimates out, hoping something lands and hoping there's some follow-up to justify it. But the jungle party there, top river, whilst it looked initially good, wasn't enough to give them control of that Herald. However, they will get themselves the first turret of the game, and they will still put a small divide between them in terms of economy. Not by much. Avant will be quite happy nonetheless that they've managed to get themselves back into this one.
Oh, Avant would be stoked. Like, with the way this game is going, with how poorly the solo laners were actually playing against their counterparts, if you had said, 17 minutes into the game, 1 item spikes, you guys are going to be dead even, I think they would definitely have said, you know what, we'll take that one. Thanks. Lock it in, Eddie. I think Direwolves would have been hoping for more, when you have a look at where Shock is currently positioned into this game, 153 CS, where Vital is as well. They would have been hoping that Dragon fight that Avant were able to win wouldn't have gone that direction. This time, Paprai is not sacrificing his farm to go towards the Dragon area. Instead, they will approach as a 4. And Appy is on the longest flank of all time, Skimmy. Look at where the support has just been sitting.
Yep, he's been waiting. He's got all the vision in the world. There's not a single red ward in the area that will spot him out. He's just buying time because he knows 25 seconds there's a dragon to fight for.
And I think that's what he's saying. He's saying, okay, I'm just going to sit here. I'm going to stay off vision, so it's guaranteed that they do not know where I am. Then we're going to give them jungle control. And that's why Paprise is back top lane this time. You guys allow them, corral them from the mid side, and then I am just going to flash engage and bring you someone. Whether it is Vital, whether it is the Orianna, let's ensure this party gets started very quickly.
And there will be the party, as Shelly will be spawned and say hello to a mid-tier 1 turret. A little bit angry, so going to headbutt it. And without any plates, we'll do a fair bit of damage. No gold to collect, but an avenue for them to attack if they are successful in a team fight that favours Avant.
The issue is here, Skimmy, if you want to go for this flank, you kind of need to give them jungle positioning. Why do they keep pulling them back to mid? Finally, that positioning will be achieved.
Oh no, the shockwave hit, nothing spawn. It's a disaster. They coupled it there with the Call of the Forge God. But without anybody knocked up, there's no ability to follow up. And another fight, it's feeling like around an objective. Do they still contest?
And Happy was just missing for way too long, Skimmy. At a certain point, you just go, okay, Happy is somewhere looking for a flank. He's either in our wolf pit or he's somewhere else. However, it looks like the flank, as well as the flash shockwave, will have done enough to secure the next dragon going down. Bottom lane priority also guaranteed here. Dao will say, you know what, we've had enough of these fun and games. We're instead just going to take the big stacked waves. Might lose out on a couple of turrets, however, Skimmy, as bottom lane turret is taking a lot of damage, and mid lane turret is very close to falling.
Certainly is. And to add to the narrative once again, this is more time for the items to come online, and that's going to benefit Violet immensely, as he'll be well on his way into it in that Runar's Hurricane. And with the desirable items, or the desirable weapons, I should say, if fights continue to go this way, they might not necessarily just have to say, we'll pick up the Dragon or pick up a Herald. I might say we can look to hard force the fight afterwards and guarantee more.
And unfortunately for Avant Gaming there, they weren't able to actually pick up any of the 3 turrets that are super low before the shop went across. So they've got so much global gold still on the map, just like hanging on by a thread. You know, maybe it would have been completed Runarns, or, you know, Burning Face, the making of Haunting Guys, Leandry Torment, as opposed to just a Blasting Wand. But they're going to redeploy onto Summoner's Rift. Baron now spawned 21 minutes into this game. Only really the 80 carries farming at the clock right now, Skimmy.
Yeah.
Everyone else a little bit slower. And once again, if Direwolves lose this game, they're fighting for probably the 5th place spot, because they don't have head-to-head against many of the other teams in the top of the ladder. And they would be, I think, 3 full games behind. Avant then would grab the head-to-head. That would be 1 game out of the top 5. Whereas if Direwolves win this one, I think it is very hard for Avant to come back into the season.
It feels like that narrative has been made very clear to these players coming into this one. Because whilst it was definitely against them in the first 10 minutes, Avant found that one opportunity around the Direwolves blue buff, and they took it. They found 2 big kills. And the momentum, the tempo definitely shifted from that moment onwards. That was a big turning point. Question is, can they continue it? Because this game is deadlocked at 22 minutes now.
We are exactly where we started the game. Teams have the same gold, Skimmy. I have to say, Team Fighting Edge are probably going to be there all game long for Direwolves, because they have got themselves the control mage. On the flip side, when you have a look at Avant's lineup, when you play LeBlanc, you should win most side lane matchups. That's going to be the ult coming across.
Oh, everything being chucked the way of Violet right now. 3 stuns, 3 knockups, 3 investments, and it finally pays off. The business is good. The situation is better. The flash, the retreat, the chance to run away. As Pat Bryce runs to the north. As his team scatter, well, pretty much every other direction. They scattered around like ants.
And the bottom lane falls down. Big shockwave there. 4 shock gets him the shutdown. And oh no, Pat Bryce hit W before he hit recall, Skimmy, which means the shield explodes and the Raptors stop the recall. That is a disaster.
It is a disaster.
Take the red buff.
Much more than just watch.
He stops a couple of recalls himself, but what a mess. There's been just so many travesties committed on League of Legends today.
And what started as a game, you say, look, I'm really enjoying myself. I mean, I'm still enjoying myself, but there's definitely a lot of chaos happening, and teams forcing fights, forcing mistakes that, on some occasions, are a little bit uncharacteristic.
I think that's a good word to use, right? Because Direwolf started this game playing beautiful League of Legends, but since then we've had a little bit of a scrap. And you do have to say that maybe Avant Gaming are a little bit more responsible for that one, Skimmy, because they have been the team that is constantly grouping up, constantly looking for these turret dives, right? But at the same time, you do have to wonder why Direwolves are giving them the response play. And Chaz was 20 CS down and is now 10 CS up. Shock is going to grab that off the bottom lane wave, but Direwolves have just stopped playing their side lane, Skimmy. Like, CS tells a big tale in these games. You should not lose. It's a tenth of your CS that you've just given over for free.
Yeah, seems to be the case. We can see that the gold is made up elsewhere, I would imagine, with kills and CS towards at least Chippies. That has been matching and responding to, having now prepped that top wave that will crash on through. Grouping up with the team quite nicely here for the next Dragon up in 30 seconds. A potential opportunity to deny Avant from an Infernal Soul point.
And again, Avant is just giving positioning of this map away. Ultimate's going to come across.
There's the Hex Slash. Oh, he Hex Slashed over as soon as the Call of Forge Guard went through. He still gets the suplex, but it doesn't matter. Shockwave once again hits nothing as Decoy tanks up a storm, but he will fall on down eventually. 2 members of Direwolves gone, their bot lane evaporated. The fight that breaks out before a Dragon Soul point. And that is going to be the icing on the cake. As much before, it was Avant running. This time it's Direwolves running. if they can pick up chippies, that's going to be a quad.
It doesn't matter, they're just going to go towards the Baron. What a fight from Avant Gaming. These support set players are freak skimmy, and you can see that Appy is doing a great job. Gets the engage started for his team. The shutdown early for Chaz. Baron will fall. And you can see now Avant Gaming in firm control.
Firm control of this game, once again, brings us back to where we started, but this time with a slight difference that this Baron buff will provide them with a big substantial lead when it comes to closing out that those turrets that still remain and looking to now build themselves a healthy gold lead that might be just enough to find some form of decisiveness in how these fights work out.
And do they think they're too slow to contest this dragon? Okay, very interesting. I would have thought that they would have, known the recall timers, that they would get there at the same time. However, they just give over positioning of that one skimmy, give it to Direwolves, and prioritize the lane and the topside jungle control. Wonder whether they move Chaz up to this play or play him as an independent LeBlanc. With the itemization he has, it looks like he wants to team fight. He's not looking to blow up a side laner with that Void Staff. Definitely most damage he can get done in a team fight. So you see, he's going to wander up the river, not going to sit down there. And this should be a top quadrant contest coming across from Avant Gaming as they look to siege into these turrets.
I'm still interested about the decision there to, give up the dragon. You mentioned they might not think they have enough time to get there for the contest. Obviously, the Baron buff is going to give them that extra combat advantage, but no doubt going to give them the ability to push in these minion waves, as you can see right there. That's the play. Again. That is the call.
So aggressive on these flanks, Skimmy. Every single time a turret is there, he just walks past the turret or even walks in between the turrets and just says, you know what, I'm gonna threaten this one. Okay, the shift back down now happening. And now Chaz is 20 CS up over Shock. And he's also two or three levels above him. With how this laning phase went, that is craziness, Skimmy.
Yeah, it really is. It really, really is. And Shock, as you mentioned, Chaz wasn't having the best start to that game. Shock hasn't really found much success in these last few fights with these shockwaves. I think I've counted at least 3 shockwaves that have hit nothing. It's, once again, returning to that key word of uncharacteristic for him. There's only so many more chances you're going to have before Avant are going to be knocking at their door.
And a game of 2 halves so far. I love that saying, by the way, because obviously every game has 2 halves. Yeah, but you can see that now it's Avant Gaming dictating the pace of this map, and it's always one of those things because technically Orianna does not win the side lane against LeBlanc. It's actually quite difficult for an Orianna to get much done. However, she does clear waves very well, and if the LeBlanc makes a mistake, there is still a lot of kill threat from the Orianna. That's why you'll see a lot of LeBlancs go second item Banshee's Veil historically in this matchup. However, I feel like Shock has never really contested Chaz. Ult is on.
There's the suplex. Watch him jump in there, lock in place 4 members right now with the grit, with the damage, with the haymaker. He literally solos the roster of Direwolves. The team come flooding on through to back him up, but it might be a little bit too late as the Direwolves duo once again are deleted in mere moments.
And now Appy again looking for a flank around the back end. He has himself the flash shockwave.
There we go. This time the shockwave lands, and this time it takes out a core component of what have been Avant's second half splurge of power and success, and it might be enough now to prevent them from continuing the aggression to break through and get an inhibitor.
And I'm surprised that Appy didn't use the flash there, because if he had gone forward, a little bit of CC landing with members of Direwolves dead, that could have nearly been a game-ending play, but you could see slight hesitation there. So instead, it will be Direwolves once again repelling the attack. You have to think that Chaz is sitting on a lot of gold at this stage. I wouldn't be surprised if that's a death cap that gets picked up, because since he bought that needlessly large rod, 3 turrets have fallen off the map, and it is... Ooh, Chaz now. He has the game in the palm of his hand.
Rabadon's cap. You know what that means when LeBlanc is coming at you. Without any magic resistance, which a lot of these players do not have. Very, very squishy. Very scary. There will be a slight advantage here for the Aphelios with the Aegis of the Legion coming online for him to give him some form of buffer to prevent the one shot. But it's going to now be a bit of a battle of the Dark Seals as one gets upgraded. Magi is now here for Shock, sitting at 7 stacks. And realizing that we have entered the late game at 30 minutes. Next few fights will be crucial for determining if they'll still have a chance to contest and continue their success in the league.
And I don't think you fight this dragon if you're the Direwolves. I think that you let the third item come across for your AD carry. You know, you wait for that Infinity Edge to happen. You get an Ornament upgrade on him. There's no point rushing this game. You do technically still outscale. Chaz on the flank. Baits out a shield.
And you just have to say, a lot of this comes down to great vision control from Avant.
Do they just go here? Appy had flash, had ult. Doesn't actually pull the trigger on either of them. Instead, they're just going to force them away from this mid lane wave.
Look at Appy just face checking 5. He's a madman. He doesn't care. 2-level difference in the jungle. 2-level difference in the mid lane. Avant with the control. A LeBlanc at full power, soon to be level 18. And they've bullied them away here, Spawn, to control the likes of a Infernal Soul point.
Okay, and so now they're going to have another Infernal Dragon on top of this already fed Aphelios, this already fed LeBlanc. You can see they're both items ahead of their counterparts. Still no rush here from Avant Gaming. 5,000 gold is a lot of gold to outscale, right? We talk about this all the time, but scaling only means that you win if the game is even. 5,000 gold at 30 minutes is definitely nothing to laugh at. The additional Fire Dragon, nothing to laugh at.
Yeah, more damage. We know how that scales on up. We do see a lot of teams, definitely in the early portion of the game, looking to sacrifice that because it means not that much. Definitely at this stage of the game, when you got all these items online, it means a whole bunch. And now the question is, what can Direwolves do as they go hunting? And the hunting is not successful. The hunter does not find his target. He does not find his prey, as that leopard will just pounce on to another situation that will look a little bit more healthy for them.
At least it just pounced into a wall.
That is not the situation I thought I would be seeing, but regardless, here we are. There's Appy. 3 members locked in place. Suplex behind. He might actually fall on down, but it does take 1. He takes 2.
Oh.
Vital shows up the goods. There's the shockwave, but it's a better than the Eddie carries. And Violet is the last man standing because he turns it around and he shows that he can get double kills just as easily as you can. And that's now going to be an easy ability for him to say, do we go Baron, or is that too much?
I think they're just going to push mid lane here, Skimmy. Try and once again force them away from these turrets. They'll play 2 lanes. That was a really great engage. And I think, you know, when you have a look at the pick ban phase, the Sion shouldn't be able to get in, but he's always just second to the party. And I'm thinking back to a game when it was actually Paprise playing Ornn into Trundle. And we said, you know what, this is definitely going to be a rough game for Paprise for the exact same reasons we're talking about now. You know, you can pillar him off his second part of his ultimate. You can take away all those resistances that Ornn likes to build because he isn't a flat health user. And Paprise played the matchup very differently than I've seen other Ornns played. He played it more as appealing. He kept breaking pillar with his headbutt. Yeah. He just did a couple of things like very unorthodox. He was sitting next to his AD carry the entirety of the game. And this game, he's shown again that he's quite a smart player. He's made the adaptations. He has never been the person to initiate the fight. He is always ulting onto carries at the back end of the fight after Appy has gone in. And I think it's worked out for him here because I think this game should be nearly unplayable. Appy!
Oh no. You speak the name and he goes in for the int. Is he going to fall on down? The critic spies, he does. It's the worst situation possible as Paprise pops the ultimate. He goes unstoppable, so that arrow will not connect. And I was just about to compliment and say how well they had done the fact that, yes, Appy was ahead in a situation that you wouldn't commonly find yourself, but it patched up the weakness of the Sion being drafted into those 2. Now, what can Chaz do? Well, apparently a lot of damage because he nearly one-shot and said to Direwolves, don't go for the Baron.
Chippies missed a memo.
Don't disrespect us. Chippies is caught on the backside and can't even use the second charge of his ultimate.
Everyone was running away from the Direwolves and Chippy's ults forward.
He's like, don't forget me, guys. Yo, pick me up.
Chaz going to be able to steal away that red. And this game must be coming towards a climax right now, Skimmy, because 35 minutes into the game, Appy respawn, full reset coming across from the Direwolves. They're either going to fight a Soul Dragon or that Baron right now. Only a minute left. The Orianna does not have the Void Staff right now. 4 items completed on Violet. You would think this game is in Aphelios' wheelhouse. How do you take him out in these fights? It must be a big shockwave, and he has some magic resistance there to nullify that danger.
I mean, you've hit the nail on the head right there. Where the damage matters is where they find an advantages. You know, the half a level ahead, half an item ahead. You know, the Death Dance is complete for the Aphelios, whereas the Vital Ash is still in the makings. Getting scarier and scarier right now, and this has been a bit of a trend here for the Direwolves, as they push those waves, they set themselves up in a brush and wait for somebody to face check, and it has been Appy. And whilst he was very tanky, he is now being met and melted.
And this is what Soul Point always does in League of Legends, Skimmy. If you're the Direwolves, you have to posture on the bottom side of Summoner's Rift, because if they get Soul, it's over. However, at the same time, then they just get inside track on Baron, and you can see they actually started up. And this set is on such a big flank.
He is indeed. Hawkshot OP reveals it. There's the suplex. Well, actually, no, there's the face. We're going to start things off with the knockup comes on through. There's the Scion charging, the slam dunk onto 4. The haymaker onto 3. The damage from an Aphelios. Moonlight Vigil tears them apart. Appy lives. He walks away. He survives. My voice is broken. It's a flawless fight. They wipe the Direwolves because Chippy's once again has been dogged by the boys. He's left at his turret saying, where are my team, for the second time in a row? And at 37 minutes in, forget the Soul Point, forget the Baron, go for the end, go for the inhibitor, and go for the GG screen. That's what they're playing for here, Spawn. Avant have risen to the occasion. They've afforded Mammoth a lifeline, but they have proved to all the haters that don't forget about us. We're still a team in the mix.
They certainly are. What a performance from Avant this game. It looked like Direwolves had firm control. I actually really loved how Direwolves played that early game. I thought their pick there was better. But at the end of the day, you still have to play the game, Skimmy. And that's why we do it. And that was just a huge victory there for Avant Gaming.
If there was ever a game where we said Avant is more than just Chaz, Appy really rose up to that situation. The guy, Turbo Giga, into Smurf, whatever word you want to chuck at it, is in the Zoomer vocabulary. He showcased that when you give him set, Z is a flex. It can be played pretty much anywhere on the map, but they know how best to utilize it. And I'm broken. Lost to words. That team fight had everything.
It certainly did. That last team fight, that was really a cliffhanger, because I thought the set had really... I thought he had won it, and then I thought he had really buggered it up, and then the Aphelios flamethrower ult, it just had everything. What wasn't there to love? Ups and downs, twists, plot twists, chippies, the Soul Survivor, dies at the end. It was a beautiful novel.
It was a beautiful novel and a beautiful outcome there. Congratulations to Avant to close out week number 8. I'm going to throw it back to the boys at the desk, and Rusty, I mean... what on earth was that? What on earth did you see? Did you anticipate that? Is Nick Boy smiling? He might be. I'm not sure what that is, but he's there's an emotion there somewhere.
There was definitely some happiness between us, we'll say that much. Nick's got Mammoth in the back pocket. AV get themselves one step closer. The craziest thing about this game is that AV, with that win, put themselves one step closer to Direwolves, who are the 5th place team right now on the ladder. They're actually one game away now from Direwolves. So the team that needed to win this desperately to stay in playoffs was the Direwolves. And then Appy comes along and literally just haymakers them into another planet.
And you have to think now, with Avant having head-to-head, that the race is really on for that last spot. And I don't think after how Direwolves ended last split, you know, this is a team that they got rid of their coach, but they brought in Cupcake and Shern to be able to do that coaching role, right? And it looked like they were really set to make a deep run into split 2. And if you had said that they are the team, you know, maybe most likely out of the big 4 or 5 to miss playoffs, I would have said you're pretty crazy. But at the same time, you have to really give credit to the other teams around them. Pentanet getting better, Chiefs regaining some form, and Direwolves, they're floundering when it matters most.
So awesome. What I mean, today really ramped up. The second half of the day was filled with great games, great surprises. I am a happy, exhausted, emotionally drained boy. Let's take a look at the results from today, because as I alluded to, we did have some surprises towards the end. Legacy taking down Order for Game 1, and then Chiefs handling Gravitas for Game 2. But then Pentanet.gg and Mammoth had a tussle back and forth before Pentanet finally took out the win there, and then it was Avant taking down the Direwolves, taking themselves one step closer to that 5th place spot, and giving Mammoth the lifeline they need to continue their run next week. Oh, you could just feel the drama and tension. Let's take a look at the standings as they stand after this weekend of League of Legends action. It is Legacy still on the top of the table at number 1, but Order nipping at their heels there in 2nd place. Then it is Chiefs and Pentanet.gg 3rd and 4th, Direwolves 5th, Avant Gaming 6th, Mammoth 7th, and Gravitas rounding out the table out of playoff contention. The only team with that situation at the moment there at 8th. So there is still, like Spawn said earlier in the broadcast, a few more games for people to be playing, but there is a lot that can change on this table in that time. So it is getting very exciting in the march towards playoffs. Then ultimately, that grand final is a couple of weeks away, but you only need to wait one more week for the next round of League of Legends action. Let's take a look at the matchup for next Friday when we get back into the OPL. It is Chiefs versus AV for Game 1. Legacy taking on Gravitas for Game 2, Direwolves and Mammoth for Game 3, and then Order and PGG for Game 4.
And that first game becomes so important, right? If Avant Gaming are going to continue that playoff push, they need to take the scalp of, a Legacy and Order or the Chiefs to be able to push themselves over that edge. And you can see that, they have the tools, I think, to match up to the Chiefs. Probably the best. Papyrus deals with these carry top laners, it seems like, in these situations. And then when you have a look at the bottom side of the map, they do match up quite well. Chaz and Teclair is a really fun matchup. So that game number 1 is going to definitely be a banger there. And I think it's going to have serious implications for how these playoffs kind of span out. Because we only have 2 weeks of League of Legends regular season left. It is going to be, a lot of games across those 2 weeks. But 5 games left for these teams. Avant need to win a couple of these hard matches.
Absolutely. And we are very excited to be here for all of that. And we're here thanks to our amazing sponsors, Neosurf, Macca's, and EPOS. And a reminder that Neosurf and EPOS are both running competitions that you can be a part of. Neosurf want to give you $500 of Neosurf voucher credit to use in the League of Legends store, and there are details about that competition on all of our socials and on watch.lollysports.com. And EPOS are giving away more headsets starting next week. That competition reopens. You saw how that one ran today. There are more details about that on our socials. So thank you to all of our sponsors, Macca's, Neosurf, and EPOS, for making all of this possible. Gentlemen, thank you very much for today. I hope we've had a good one, Rusty.
Yeah, it's been a good time. Been some interesting games of League of Legends is the one word I would use to explain them that ramped up a lot.
Ramped up indeed. The second half of the day really saved today from a capital I interesting. Skimmy and Spawn, thank you very much for joining us. Skimmy, you can rest. You've done an amazing job as always, and that voice deserves some calm down time. But knowing you, that's not going to happen. You're immediately going to jump into games with the lads and continue playing.
Yeah, most likely. What I was going to say, though, is we were so close, Nick, to having a weekend where it was all about victories on that left-hand side.
So close.
Order just had to ruin it. Order just had to ruin it.
Oh, why did we do that? I was so hopeful this morning. I got out of bed, right? And I was like, today is going to be a great day. And so much stuff has gone wrong in my life, including that game, that it really has just been one of those days. Like, damn. Like, what more can you do?
We could have all been singing to the left, but today we're not going to be able to their Spawn. So I guess back with the Disney songs.
But something you can do, Spawn, is tell us what we're about to see for sure this time. We're going to be heading into the Valorant Ignition series. What can everyone expect as we host that?
Yeah, I mean, really interesting development in the Valorant Ignition series. So last night's game was awarded a forfeit. However, overnight there was word that forfeit had been overturned and that they were going to play the match instead. And that match took place at 5 o'clock today. So it looks like ExoClan were able to pick up a 2-1 win over I think it was Control. Now we're about to throw into potentially the next game that's going to happen, which is Team Launch, taking on Unnamed, the only team left in the competition that is kind of orgless. Team Launch sitting with a lot of Counter-Strike players that people would be really familiar with, like Texter, Tux, Dick Stacey, and the like. So they're definitely one of the favorites to be able to pick up the win there. And I think that it is going to be casters Mac and Avril bringing you the action tonight. So it'll be a really good fun. Yeah, for those that don't know, Geordie Mac Aaliyah is he's a big red-headed guy with a very good mustache. So I really enjoy his casting as well. I think he's super good cast games like Counter-Strike, obviously, but also things like Warcraft 3 and stuff like that still on Rusty, which I'm sure you're a big fan of, but should be a really, really good series.
Absolutely. So we're jumping into that series, but like Spawn alluded to, there was the one that was supposed to be played yesterday that had a forfeit overnight that's been overturned. That's already been played while you're here watching this. So make sure you go check out the VOD for that and give those guys the support because they definitely need it. They were expecting some stage time yesterday. They didn't get it. They got it today. So you get double the amount of esports action than you were expecting tonight. So make sure you go check out that game. All right. A big thank you to everyone for watching. A massive thank you to the cast and to the production crew for tonight's OPL. It's been a joy as always, and we'll be back with more League of Legends action, and I will not be wrapped in a doona. I will have found some clothes. We'll see you next Friday.
Today is the NeoSurf Cup, and we're going to be playing against Misfits, so hopefully we can bring home the win.
NeoSurf is simple, safe and secure. You can go to your local shop and get a voucher code and use it online, preferably to buy League of Legends skins.
He's got it! This is deadly! He's got it!
If you're craving the taste of your favourites, head to Macca's for a fast, safe and contactless drive-through experience. For your Macca's run, contact-free, we'll be here.
Target inside.
Could have saved them.